Hello and welcome to my awesome health journey. And once again, Brett Dupree, and this is my awesome health journey. Today, I'm going to talk about the thing I said I was going to talk about last week, but I keep on putting off. But I'm not putting it off because I don't want to do it. I'm putting it off because of laziness, and I just don't have a. I don't know. I'm like, you'll do it. I'll do it later. But I might as well do it now. I mean, I did just kill a gigantic Tarrasque. Let's get that off my head. Okay, so basically, this is a mental health thing, and the thought process that I kind of went through with my actually a psych practitioner, wanting to feel a certain way, and the scenario popped in my head, and I've been thinking about this for a while, mostly because I've been really thinking about acceptance lately, and lately, pretty much since last year when I started this emotional intelligence part of my healing journey and really working on processing the emotions, and especially what I went through in October, where like my car got messed up, and then like the things happened at work, and then, yeah, and then start worrying about my rent increasing, and then noticing that all of a sudden anxiety was starting to really build within me. And so I've been really thinking about acceptance. And so during the psyche practitioner, I was supposed to hit this feeling, this anxiety feeling, I think it was, and then work through it. But what happened in my brain was a scenario. For some reason, this person was talking to me on Instagram. And I couldn't really figure out why they're talking to me. Well, now they're gone, so it doesn't really matter. Why, I'll never know. I'll never know. It was kind of weird. So I created this scenario in my head because I was going to what I like to call hippie dancing, which is, ecstatic dancing. Something called the Bloom Festival at Ohm Culture. It's just, a bunch of people who are into personal growth, healing, and it's just dance, and there's things happening, teas and other assortment things going on. And it's fun. I like going, like being around people, like dancing, noticing my emotions, and working through things. And the scenario popped in my head of like, what if I asked this person to come with me? And so I'd go drive pretty far away to pick this person up. It's no one that anyone it's just a random internet person. Drive them there. And then what happens if they decide to not dance with me and dance with other people around there? And I thought to myself, how would I want to react? How ideally would I want to react? What's the way I'd be proud of myself for reacting? Because as I think that's the best way of putting it. Instead of my ideal self, and the self that I would be proud of, right? Yeah, that's better than ideal because that is not so much pressure. Because I can be proud of myself for falling down and getting back up. Like an ideal version of myself would never fall. So it's myself that I'm proud of. And at first I thought of like, if someone doesn't want to dance with me, well, do I really want to dance with them? And so, number one, go to be fine with it. But that also doesn't allow me to feel disappointed of like, because my expectation, which is what disappointment is, and a lot of upset, it's like I expect something and that thing not happening, and there's a feeling of disappointment. And I have to honor that feeling. And I think that's what it means to honor a feeling. And I think when you hear like your feelings are valid, it's this undercore of like all feelings are just feelings. It's the actions we do with those feelings, which is what makes them good or bad. There's no bad feelings. Envy is not a bad feeling if you just process your emotions and make good decisions based off that emotion. Jealousy is not a bad feeling. It's jealousy if you go and attack the person or hate the person or anything like that, but if you just feel jealous and allow yourself to work through those jealousy emotions, work through those jealous thoughts, accept them because, all emotions are part of us. We are petty people. I'm petty. I'm shallow. I don't want to say evil. That's too strong. But I'm I can be vengeful. I can be immature. just name a negative emotion and I can be it. I am it, if you will. You know, I feel those emotions. They happen. And there's nothing wrong with having them because it's part of the human experience. So accepting is something along the lines of allowing myself to feel that emotion and to process my thought processes, process the bodily feelings, the hormones, the neurons firing, all the physical things, and allow that to work through and then get to a point where I can make that decision as the tattoo I'll eventually get someday when I feel like I have enough money for a tattoo. Keep on buying other things. I'll look forward to the thing that's going to come on Friday that I'm going to talk about. I'm super excited to talk about that. But between stimulus and response, there is space. And that's what that means, you know, the man search for meaning. Between stimulus and response, there is space. And within that space, there lies choice. Within that choice lies all the freedom. Because the freedom is not to be consumed by your emotions, not to go from anger to fighting, not to go to fear to running, to actually be able to make that choice based off what is necessary for the context of the current situation that I am in. And, you know, being around, let's say, like a beautiful woman and feeling fear and nervousness and then recoiling back like I used to with my social anxiety is not freedom. Freedom would just be having a normal conversation with this person as if they're a human being and not something to put on a pedestal because I happen to find them super beautiful and just be myself, my authentic self in that situation. That is freedom. That is what like the hippies call authenticity, if you will. And so, but that nervousness isn't bad. It's like, yeah, those are natural feelings. It's still natural to be kind of nervous because you want this person like you because there's something about them that excites you. And one thing that I am indoctrinated to be excited about is beauty, if you will. And I'm just using this as an example, but there's nothing wrong with that nervous feeling. There's nothing wrong with that anxiety feeling. It's only when I allow that to trap my decision making into something that I am not happy with and I am not proud of. But it's also not a good thing to, of course, attack myself. It's about, you know, not being free from fear, but examining it, figuring it out and like working through it. And I guess the older I get and the more I process this and the more I process my emotions, the more this makes sense in a way that feels real instead of being a conceptual idea of like a way I want to be or an ideal way I want to be. It's something that I actually can do, but it's constant and it's also needs to be in a way that doesn't destroy me, which can happen, I think, with personal growth. Is if you get way too into it, it can be something that can consume and just take so much energy. And it's not helpful. It's like orthorexia, which is a eating disorder where you worry so much about being healthy, you actually make yourself sick. And I think you can become spiritually or personal growthly orthorexic, if you will, because you get so into positive thinking, you get so into being the best version of yourself that you actually destroy you give yourself anxiety. I know I've fallen into that trap a few times in my life. And I think it's one of the reasons why I really got into emotional eating as well, and how that part didn't help through that. And so, I mean, one part of this process of working with the psychiatric practitioner, working with my therapist, working with my nutritionist, is really working on and allowing me to feel my emotions and deal with them. I've talked about this before. It's just, this is like the next step, if you will. Or not, it's not even the next step. This is just a step in this tapestry of steps that is life. Life isn't a finished product. It's just something that we do, and sometimes along the way we will grow. We'll become better. Sometimes along the way we'll regress. We'll become worse. And that's fine because that's just part of the human experience. Always experiencing, always growing, always being, always becoming, always being, always becoming. So that's what that means, right? Well, So that's been what's been on my mind in a 10-minute chunk. And I hope that was interesting to you. Hope you weren't completely bored. And hope you found that interesting. I already said that. So, I would like to say once again, I love you for who you are. I think you're a wonderful person. You are valid. You are worthy. I am happy you're alive. And if I know you, I'm happy you're in my life. And I love you for who you are.